welcome to another episode of the RotorHub International Podcast, hosted by me, Gideon Ewers, editor of RotorHub International. Today it's a bit different. We're out of the office in Farnborough and on the road, up at the Cosford Air Base of the Midlands Air Ambulance Charity. It's actually right across the road from RAF Cosford, which has a fantastic museum, I have to say, if you're up this way. You could maybe look in on the charity, maybe make a donation. That would be a good thing. But I'm learning all about the charity and its work, and also celebrating the arrival of a brand new 𝗵𝗿𝗽𝗍𝗈, which had its official unveiling just a few moments ago. But to start with, I'm looking at the training suite for the back of the bus, where the paramedics are doing their recurrent training. And it's an extraordinary facility to explain. I mean, there's all manner of training dummies from, well, everything. But fortunately, I'm useless explaining these things, but I'm lucky because I've got 𝗂𝗽𝗋𝗄𝗯, who's going to explain it all to us, and what the pieces and how they work and how the training regime works. Karen, thanks for spending some time with me today, especially with all the celebrations and everything outside.
No problem at all. Very welcome.
Karen, there's an amazing array of equipment in here. Could you just walk me through a little bit of it, so I can paint a little bit of a picture for the listeners?
Absolutely. We're very lucky at this airbase at Cosford to have this training facility. It's split into sort of three sections, really. The room we're in at the moment is very much like a classroom. It's got all the technical presenting boards, etc. So it can be a classroom style, but around it and contained within it, we've got a lot of equipment. We have a team of highly trained, highly skilled critical care paramedics and doctors, and we're providing enhanced care on the side of the road that complements the ambulance service and provides care above what they can deliver as an ambulance service. So this particular room enables us to fine-tune those enhanced skills that we have. So we have a range of dummies, for want of a better word, that come in all shapes and sizes, right down from babies to paediatric sizes, right up to adults, that simulate old people, young people, men, women. And then we have individual pieces of equipment, if you like. I'm looking at an arm at the moment that enables us to practice ultrasound, because all of our aircraft and cars carry ultrasound devices that we can use to look at the heart, assist with getting intravenous access, cannulation. So that allows us to practice those sort of fine skills. And then we've also got so a neck, for example. If we struggle to gain an airway for all sorts of reasons, it might be a blockage from choking, or it might be that an airway is obstructed from burns. It allows us to practice front of neck access, so that's sort of getting a hole in the front of the neck and then getting an airway that way. Right through to mannequins that allow us to practice delivering babies in an emergency situation. And by delivering, I mean almost performing an emergency caesarean on the roadside. That's called a 𝗵𝗿𝗽𝗍𝘂𝗍𝗈 hysterotomy. Again, we perform procedures on the chest, 𝗂𝗽𝗄𝗯𝗹𝗂𝗍𝗂𝗋𝗃𝗄𝗎, all surgical procedures, and all these mannequins allow us to practice that so that when we go and do it for real on the roadside, we're slick at it.
So it's incredible. And I mean, I wish this is one of the things where sound lets you down, because it is truly an array of equipment. I was kind of interested. You were talking about the different cases that you see. I guess, I mean, what is the mix between things like, trauma events with road traffic accidents versus things like, I don't know, cardiovascular type events or strokes, that kind of thing? What's the mix do you see with the sort of cases you get called to?
I would say historically we used to go to a lot more trauma, so road traffic accidents. We are seeing a lot more medical cases now, and I think that is through enhanced dispatching and just an increase in the skills and interventions that we can deliver. So we go to an awful lot of cardiac arrest patients now, where we can provide experience. We see it a lot, so we can very much run a very efficient cardiac arrest sort of case, if you like. We can provide advanced airway.
So Karen, I mean, how would you split it now? You talked about historically there were a lot of road traffic trauma type events, and now it's less so. What's the sort of split now?
So I would say the split now is sort of 60% trauma and 40% medical. Certainly with medical, we are going to more cardiac arrests, more strokes, more heart attacks, and that's because we can provide a lot more care to patients suffering from those medical conditions, but also get them to the speciality hospitals that can treat their condition, and they may be, 40-45 minutes an hour by land, whereas we can get them there in 10 to 15 minutes. Certainly in terms of trauma, unfortunately, and it's been in the news a lot, we're attending a lot more stabbing incidents, especially in the inner city areas, and again, unfortunately, sort of cases of self-harm.
It's a sad reflection, I guess, on the way our society's going. But fortunately, you guys are on hand. You now have a 3 helicopter fleet, lovely shiny new H145 out there in the hangar. They don't come cheap. And folks, honestly, if you could see this facility, a facility like this with all the ability to do on-site recurrent training, keeping the crews current, they don't come cheap either. I mean, how did this come together?
No, they don't come cheap, and we are very lucky, and we are a charity, and this particular facility was sponsored by the Kildare Trust. So, we're very, very grateful for trusts like them that help us provide these facilities, because it enables us to go out and provide the top quality care that we do.
Yeah, and it's top, and it's not just the big donations as well. It's all the people out in the streets across the county served as well that are giving you the support.
100%, from the pounds that are given from children's pocket money right through to the thousands of pounds that are given to us in grants and trusts. It all adds up. It really does all add up, and we're grateful for every penny that we get.
Although this is a great classroom and you've got great equipment, there's something else a couple of doors along there that really does up the ante. It's that training suite in there, and I've just come out of there. Just talk us through all the capabilities it has. I mean, I've seen it. It's impressive. I mean, sight, sound, temperature.
Yeah, so yes, we've got this classroom environment and the mannequins to practice on, and then we've got a full simulation suite. To try and best describe it, it works off projectors, and we can simulate any environment that we want. We can simulate something on the motorway, on a mountain, in the back of an aircraft, in a nightclub, and then alongside that have noise, temperature, hot, freezing cold. I think it goes down to 4 degrees, and smells as well. So it enables us to move that training to almost full simulation, where we can really practice not just the technical skills, but the difficulties we encounter with not being able to hear each other, or we're freezing cold and yet we're trying to perform all these interventions and work together as a team. So it really does practice us before we go out on the road and do it for real.
It's incredible, for sure. So Karen, I mean, although you've got the new aircraft out there, and that's got advantages with the D3, the 5-blade helicopter in terms of payload compared with the earlier 145s. The back of the aircraft, I know it's got the 𝗂𝗃𝗀 fit out, but equipment-wise, wildly different from the earlier aircraft?
No, so the equipment that we carry is uniform across all of our 3 aircraft, both our 145s and our 135. And we need that uniformity and standardisation because our crews work on all aircraft, so it needs to be the same. But in terms of the equipment that we carry, we carry everything that a standard sort of UK ambulance would carry, plus all our enhanced kit. So it's really like a mini resuscitation department, to be honest, that's flying to the roadside or somebody's house. Yeah.
Let me ask you about that. Actually, thinking about that, in the missions that you fly, are some of them exactly like that? It's like a mobile resus unit that you go, you stabilise the patient, and then they're evacuated by road, or evacuated by air, or is it just kind of a mix?
It's very much a mix. So yeah, you know, we go to whatever incident it is that we go to. We take the appropriate equipment. We have got pretty much that full resuscitation department. And then it depends on what's wrong with the patient. It depends how close we are to hospital, how close the aircraft is to where the patient is. Because if we've had to, you know, move half a mile to get there, sometimes to get them back to the aircraft, it's just as quick to go by land. What's important is the aircraft gets us there quickly, but it gets that medical team there quickly. The medical care starts on the roadside, and then we take it to hospital. So it's not just the quick flying helicopter that it used to be, that 𝗂𝗽𝗀𝘁𝗄 used to be.
Scoop and scoot.
Yeah, that's a scoop and run, as we used to call it. It's really taking that advanced care to the roadside now, and that's where treatment starts.
Brilliant. Well, you know, it's been an education coming up here, because it's a long way up here from sunny Farnborough to RAF Cosford, or I shouldn't say RAF Cosford, Cosford base, because the Air Force are across the road, and learning all about not only the new facility that the Midlands Air Ambulance Charity has here at new aircraft always fun, but also the education that Karen's given me on how the teams work, how they train, and how they serve the communities of this part of the UK. So Karen, thanks again for your time. I know it's a busy day for you guys all here with all the great and the good downstairs, the glitterati, and if we're quick, we might even get a sandwich or two. So Karen, thanks much for your time.
Thank you, and you're very welcome.
And that takes us to the end of another episode of the RotorHub International Podcast. We'll be back with you in 2 weeks' time with more from the vertical lift industry. Until then, fly straight and level, keep the blue side up.